King Corn beats be killing shit.
We was powers on this earth once, and we was all about the mirth once. Idol worship, murder like the first of the month. Hit a nigga with the bic like he need a light. That's what you do when you on fourth, or else you got a punt. But we ain't needed when we cry for Egypt flesh, nah. So it's Egypt that we got, and we hella mad. These crackers soaring off our shoulders like some helipads. They see our sweat, but they don't feel us like we holograms. I'll be damned, another black man shot again.
Shalom, shalom. Shalom, family. It's a little quick discussion. I believe we're talking about salvation for all nations versus salvation for Israel only. We're going to see where this thing goes, and we'll bring the first, if not only, guest on. Let him introduce himself. Shalom, are you there? You on the stage, all right, son?
Peace, brother. Can you hear me?
Peace, peace, peace. Hey, feel free to introduce yourself.
I can't. You might be muted. I can't hear you. I see you flashing.
You still can't hear me?
I can't hear nothing you saying.
Let me do something real quick.
All right, there you go. I can hear something now.
Now
Now I can hear you.
Okay. I was saying, go ahead. Feel free to introduce yourself and
Yes.
your the stance you wanted to represent today, and then we'll let you open up after that.
Yes, sir. My name is Duran. On here, I go by I Son. The reason why I go by I Son is that I teach that the Creator's name is I, not myself, but that is the name we're to call the Creator. I know as far as the Hebrew Israelites, they say Yahweh, but it used to be the Tetragrammaton where you couldn't even say it. So that's always confused me since I've come into these communities, I've been speaking with other people. Then you have Allah for the Muslims, but Allah only means God in Arabic. So that's confusing. Other than that, there's other names that floats around out here. Some people believe Jesus is God in the Christian community, which his name wasn't Jesus. His name was Emmanuel. Jesus is only a title, and it stands for justice or just us as a people. So, and as far as the salvation, yeah, I'd like to get into that with you, brother, because I don't understand how or why those who call themselves Hebrew Israelites or Israelites think that they will be the main people in the hereafter when the blessing of the children didn't go to the children of Jacob. They went to Abraham, saying that the seed of Abraham. So when it says the seed of Abraham, how do you think it could just mean the Israelites? And I guess I'm proposing that question. Do you put your face on too? I prefer speaking to brother face to face.
I'm not camera ready right now. It was drop everything and get to it. I just got off work. I had no
Okay, no problem. Just the way you said it was funny. I'm not camera ready. I got you.
Yeah, I just want to leave it there.
No doubt.
But okay. Go ahead and give your opening position then. I understand that you feel that salvation is for everybody. All praises to the Most High. We have that understood. What does salvation look like for you? I suppose you'll be able to fill us in on that as well.
Yeah, my definition of salvation is what the Israelites called the Sabbath. But I don't view the Sabbath as a once a week Sabbath. The Sabbath was never considered once a week. That is a man-made Sabbath. When you look in Genesis, it talks about on the seventh day, it will be a day of rest. Then that rest will be from sin. So it doesn't mean when it says work, it's not talking about working a job or doing any type of works of labor. It's talking about the work of sin. So we will be rid of that sin. So when that time comes, it's whoever has come to the point where they are obedient enough to stop sinning, because in that hereafter, that day of rest, we're going to rest from that sin, because that won't be tolerated in the last 1,000 years. That's why in Revelations, when it talks about that Savior or that man to come, he comes and he'll be amongst the people for 1,000 years. And Abraham, it talks about it. It says that, and your people will go back to a good old ripe age like their forefathers. So we're going back to live 6, 7, 8, 900 years old, up to 1,000. And I'll leave it there so we can build together.
So salvation is rest, essentially, is what you're saying?
Yeah. What I'm saying when I say rest of sin, where we will be a hue of people. See, the rainbow in the sky is essentially a collective of people from different hues of colors, but one day we'll be human. Right now, these hues are all broken up, and we have to bring them all back together to live as a collective people. You won't see color in that time from the standpoint we see it today, because we'll be a human race. Right now, we're working from the mankind perspective. We're a kind of man, which is a fallen man.
If I could pause you.
Sure.
It sounds like what you're saying is a restful day is coming, a day where we rest from sin. And the rainbow is representative of a day where we won't look at skin color anymore. And this was the plan for the rainbow from the beginning.
Yes. This has always been the plan of humanity.
So how long has skin color been an issue, just as far as your cultural cosmology?
Sure. I would date it back towards the Bible time frame when man fell 6,000 years ago.
Even then, when we look at skin color?
Well, that was what, well, it wasn't exactly at that time, but it was throughout that process that became the situation, because then with the Caucasian man then coming in during that time period, it changed the colors in the people too.
During what time period exactly? Just so I can follow you.
Sure. Some people say 6,000. I don't have an exact date on this. Some people say 6,000. I've read where it could have been over 4,000 years ago. From my understanding, from what I've read, that the Caucasian man derived from us, obviously, but they were the weaker species, and they were casted out of what I would call Kemet or Africa, however you want to look at it, and they walked across the sands to get to Europe. And when they got to Europe, the climate was so different that they lost their pigmentation, because they started to retreat into caves, and they started living in caves. Now, some of the things.
Wait. There's a lot being said here. And because somebody said it in the comments that this is purely unbiblical, let's rein it in just a little bit, because we could definitely have a fantastical conversation, but I don't want to do that. I want to focus in on biblical salvation. So basically what you're saying is a day is coming where we will have a rest from sin. But one nuance is that we won't see skin color or race anymore. Everybody will be one people during that time. Yes or no?
Right. The hue man. It wouldn't be HU, it would be HUE man. The hue of people, the different colors of us as one people. Now, I will say this to you, because I'm not
real quick. I'm building a point. I just wanted a quick yes or no so I can properly position this. I wanna give a chance to rebut you, and I'm gonna put some Bible on the screen, and I wanna take a bit of a linguistical approach, but I'm gonna allow you to exegete via the English to the best of your ability. The time frame you're talking about is in the new heaven and the new earth, right?
Yes, all that's the earth part here. None of us have ever seen heaven, except for a state of mind or a state of being or mind. Like
I
you
would
feel
agree.
like you're in heaven. But go ahead.
I would agree. So I want Isaiah 65.
And while you're looking for that, I just wanted to make this statement to you so we can
Wait,
get
hold the thought. The way that I teach, I like to be slow going if possible, because I don't want it to be a discussion between me and you. I want it to be more about the audience than anything.
That's fine.
It's not going to be about I got your moments or anything like that. But I don't want a new point to be made. I want this to be the focal point.
This isn't a point that I'm making. It's a statement that I'm making.
Okay.
I'm not held. I'm not held to the Bible, and I only made that because of what you said earlier. So that's why I wanted to say that. But we're working from the Bible. I respect that, but I'm not held.
What other sources are we looking at?
There's many different sources, but right now I'm dealing with you from the Bible. But there's we'll get to that because I want you to make your point here. But I just wanted to make that statement because you said earlier somebody said that's not Bible. That's why I wanted to say that.
Got you. So what I would like for you to do for me and for the audience is if you could read and give us your stance on Isaiah 65, verses 17 through 19.
Not a problem. For behold, I create new heavens and a new earth, and the former shall not be remembered nor come into mind. But be ye glad and rejoice forever in that which I create. For behold, I create Jerusalem and rejoicing, and her people a joy. And I will rejoice in Jerusalem, a joy in my people, and the voice of weeping shall be no more heard in her, nor the voice of crying. Now, Jerusalem, from my teachings, it's the heart. It's what this scripture is talking about. There's going to be a new heart placed in the people.
So the new heavens and the new earth is talking about a place in the heart.
Let me finish. No, I said Jerusalem would be considered a change of heart. Now the creation of the, you gotta let me walk through it for you. Since you wanted me to read it, let me explain it because that's what you asked me.
Go ahead.
For the new heavens and the new earth, that's what I was explaining when I said that earlier, that we will be without sin at that time. Not that we never had sin. We're going back to admonish sin, to be a people that was the people before Adam and Eve who had not sinned. The only time that sin came into the world was the fall 6,000 years ago. So now we're going back to a people that are to be the rightful people and the people with morals and consciousness, because back then they didn't understand that. So they fell. So all of that is going to be right here, but we're just going to be a different heart, a different mind. Not only, I believe it's in the Bible somewhere too, where it talks about the lion will lie down with the sheep, and the animals will also have a new heart, because it's going to be a different time period, because the true creator, where you see where it says, for behold, I create. Now, I'm not saying that's the creator that's talking there. Now, biblically, you would have to understand that I and God is not the same. God is right. God is more like Satan or Satan, but they use God to sometimes try to say I. So it's the ability to understand what's being said when it's being said. But you have to, after you read it, you have to see what happens next. If God is saying kill these people, that's not the creator. The creator is not about death, life. The creator's, not about death. The creator, who I call I, is about life. So when you hear a God saying that it's jealous, that's not the creator. The creator has no reason to be jealous.
Okay. We'll get to that a little bit later. But what
Yes,
I'm understanding is that what this is talking about is in a new heaven and a new earth in Jerusalem. What it's saying is that God will rejoice in our heart.
right. Well, who I say I is, yes, it will come within the heart. Another word
because
for Jerusalem that I was taught was heart.
because because we'll have new hearts, circumcision of the heart.
Right, there you go.
So in the new heaven and a new earth, we'll be at rest and there'll be no sin.
And there will be no sin. We will be
Okay.
conscious of not doing sin. We can do that now. You have the
Oh,
capability to do that now.
so there
But
will be sin.
excuse me,
There will be sin or there will not be sin.
you will be removed for sin.
You will be removed from.
You're going to be accountable now.
Okay. The reason why I'm asking you after this manner, I want you to understand, just so that it doesn't come off as disingenuous, is because in the beginning, you definitively and staunchly said there will be no sin in the time of rest.
No, let me say it this way. There's a transition.
Uh-huh.
So as this you'll be in that time period, but that transition, it's going to be in there, but it's going to be phasing out. Just like, I'll say it this way so it makes better sense to you. When Adam and Eve first sinned, everybody else was fine. They're the ones that fell first. But then what happened was throughout time, they began to permeate their sin throughout the earth. So the same thing is going to happen in this manner.
So
When the reverse, it's going to change where it's going to take hold and people are going to stop sinning. So
is
what
it,
I'm saying is at the point that
let's so this could be more conversational. I don't mean to cut you off for the sake of cutting you off.
that's all right.
Is it going to phase off before the new heaven and earth is established? Because if our heart is circumcised, we're no more stiff. And this is a precedent set in laws, right? Circumcision of the heart is a reference to obedience. So I would imagine that if God is rejoicing in our heart, it's because our heart is eschewing wickedness, kind of like Job did. Would you agree with that?
So yes, I could say that. I could agree with that, and that's why it talks about a third of the angels and people will leave this earth.
So, and then the new heaven and new earth will be established
Where's that? Yeah, we will start building it.
after that.
I'll put it this way. When it talks
After
about
wickedness is phased out, right? That I'm trying to get
one
that
more time,
nailed down first. I said after wickedness is phased out, after sin is phased out, that's when we'll start to see the height of the new heaven and the new earth.
it's going to be a transition. It's going to be a transition. So
But after that transition,
what I'm
what
saying, so
I'm
you understand, it's not going to be a pluck of the finger and they're gone or whomever's gone and this people is here. It's going to be a transition. So it has to take hold. Let
what
me
I'm
ask you.
asking about is at the end of the transition, brother. Just so that we're not
You
spinning
mean
this
at the
wheel forever.
end of the transition?
There's no
At the
more
very
spin.
end. There you go. Okay.
Okay,
Now
so
I'll break
that's
it down.
easily understood.
I
So what
got
I
you.
want to do is finish in Isaiah 65 and 20. It
Hold
says,
on.
there shall no more from thence an infant of days, nor an old man that hath not filled his days. Would you agree that we can expect to see that at the height of our rest, at the end of that transition?
Correct. Well, that's what I said earlier when I said we'll return to a good old ripe age. You'll be 100 as a baby.
At the end of the transition?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
So I'm glad that we are now able to speak absolutely, just because truth is something, the term amath, that's translated into truth. That's where we get the term math from. So we want it all to add up at the end of the day, right? We want to do the math. So it says, for the child shall die 100 years old, but the sinner being 100 years old shall be accursed. Can you explain to me why at the climax of this, after the transition, when the righteous are seeing a full good old age, there's still a sinner?
Hold on one second. Let me go where you're at. Because I don't know if they're referring to the same time periods, but let me make sure what you're reading.
It's
There should be no
verse 20.
you said 6 by 20, right? There shall be
Yeah.
no more thence an infant of days.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's talk. They're not talking about necessarily an infant, okay, just a short amount. of time as baby time,
Right.
nor an old man that have not filled his days. For the child shall die 100 years old, but the sinner being 100 years old shall be accursed. This
Okay.
this okay. I would have to look at this a little more deeper because I've never looked particularly at this. So I would have to look at this a little more deeper to see what it's exactly talking about and what
Mhm.
time period. So I would have to definitely
Now,
get on this.
I respect that. Now, the question that I have is, where did you get the phrase "no more infinite days" from? If you have to analyze this text a little further.
Well, infinite days to myself is what I teach is like right now, living to be 20, 30, 40, 50, that's an infinite days.
Mhm.
Okay.
But where
We're
did you get that phraseology from? Is what I'm saying.
Well, if you look
Like,
at
no one
let's
talks like
I'll
that.
go into the Bible with you. Two
Okay.
was that 2 Peter 3:8. Pull that up for me.
2 Peter 3:8.
Correct.
Okay, we have 2 Peter chapter 3, and we have verse 8 on the screen. You want me to start a little bit higher for context, or is this
No,
fine?
you start right there. It says
Okay.
what it means.
Okay.
All right, it says, but beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing, that one day is with the Lord as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as one day. So the Creator's one day is equivalent to our 1,000 years.
Mm.
So when you go back and you look at Adam and Noah, these people lived to be 900, Methuselah 989, Adam 965. I think Noah was 650 years. So when I'm saying infinite of days, that's a very short amount of time. We're not even living. We're living an hour at 41.5, I believe it is, or 40.5 years is just only an hour with the Creator.
Hmm. Yeah. But what I'd ask, because I understand and I agree with this text wholeheartedly and fully. So there's no qualms with you almost want to say that they got the theory of relativity from texts like these, concepts like these. What I'm asking is, where did you get the terminology infant of days? Because that's not common English speak. So what I'm saying is, without some frame of reference within the text, what text did you get that terminology from? So
Well,
where Isaiah
it,
65 being the only place in the Bible where we see the term infinite days.
if you go to, I'm trying to think of the, let me think when it talks about the ancient of days.
Hmm.
So that's more like the end of the world ways, and then the infant time is the beginning of the world days. I don't want to confuse you because we're talking two different languages here. So when I say infant of days, I'm talking about the beginning, or you can also refer to it as not living a ripe age anymore. Because at one point, one time, it said, man shall not live to be more than 120 years old.
Hmm.
So, was that 88% of our lifespan was cut.
Hmm.
So we don't have the ability to live like we once did, but we're coming back to that. And in heaven, you live a very long time.
Even the
So
sinner, yeah.
no, not being the sinner.
No, even the
So,
sinner, I said.
no, but let me explain why. Now in Revelations
Wait,
27,
wait, what are you gonna explain why real quick, brother?
why we won't be a sinner at that time when this transition happens.
Oh,
Because
okay.
because remember Satan in Revelations 20, it talks about Satan will be bound for 1,000 years. And then after that 1,000 years is up, Satan is re-released. And then when Satan is re-released, Satan cannot find another human to go back into to convince them to sin again.
Mm.
Because that was Satan's whole job, was to make us disobey. And once you fell into that disobedience, which Adam and Eve did at that time, They didn't physically die, they spiritually died.
Very interesting.
So
Very
we
interesting.
won't go back into that.
So I hear you saying that. The issue that I take is that we looked at Isaiah 65, and from verses 17 through 19, we agreed that not only is it talking about the new heaven and the new earth, not only is it talking about at least Israel having a new heart. You did say it's your stance that it's pretty much anybody that has a new heart, Jerusalem being the heart and God rejoicing in that heart. So, i.e., those that receive that salvation rest. When I take on your logic, you had agreed that this, at the end of verse 19, is when the transition ends and it comes to a head. When we get to verse 20, which is after the transition is over, it says that within that same time frame, that there's not going to be any more infinite days, the very thing that you just affirmed, nor old man that have not fulfilled his days. And then you agreed that the child should die at 100 years old. But it seems like, as far as the text goes, your only contention is that there won't be a sinner. But the text says that the sinner, being 100 years old, shall be accursed. So what I want to understand is why the discrepancy between you and the text all of the sudden in Isaiah 65, 20c.
Well,
In this
there's no
last clause.
I think you're not paying attention. I said there will be a transition.
I just addressed the transition. You said the
So
transition would be over by verse 19.
By the end, I said the transition, before the end, the transition will be over.
But we had confirmed that verse 20 signified the time that the transition would be over. We did that together, and I asked you, and you said yes. And then I went to verse 20.
Oh, go back. You said you asked me what, and I said yes to what again?
So when we talked about verses 17 through 19, you had affirmed that verse 19 is going to come to its fullness when the transition is over. So I said, are you saying that people will stop sinning at the end of the transition, and that's when God will rejoice in the heart, being Jerusalem?
Right,
You
but
said, yeah.
Again, but that's not it. Remember, this transition is a 1,000-year period.
But so you're saying the transition of 1,000 years ends with Satan coming back and then sin coming back into earth?
Sin's not going to come back.
So after 1,000 years, because you just referenced after 1,000 years, Satan coming back. You had just did that.
I'll read it to you. It's in Revelation.
I mean, what I don't want you to do is read it. The issue that I'm having is that you've already referenced it, but you're putting it on a different side of your argumentation at this point. Prior, you said that after the 1,000 years, Satan was going to come, and that he was going to come and do his thing and deceive. Without making it more confusing by adding another text for us to analyze, we should simplify it by looking at Isaiah 65 verses 17 through 19, which has been the focal point of the discussion. You said that this will come to a height, and that God will rejoice in Jerusalem, which is the heart, and that there wouldn't be no more infinite days after the transition is over. And so I confirmed with you. I said, are you okay? So you're saying when the transition is over and things are the way that they're supposed to be, that's when there's going to be no more infinite days. You affirmed that I was walking with you correctly. And then you only started to disagree when we got to, but the sinner being at 100 years old shall be accursed. So we should not go to another text. What we have to find out is why you have a conflict with the text that you just told me has up until this point, but the sinner being 100 years old shall be accursed. Up until that point, you said chronologically it lines up, and that the transition is over before we get to the latter clause of this verse. That's the task in front of you.
Let me make sure we're on the same page here, because I think you're misunderstanding what I mean when I say transition. Okay, so in this time period when we're going back to be who we once were, and lived that time frame. I couldn't tell you exactly what year. That's why I'm using the word transition. So it could be
Right.
you understand what I'm saying? So I'm not pinpointing a year because I don't have that ability to tell you what year this would happen. The only thing I can
That
tell
would be
you,
ridiculous for me to assume that you could. I understand.
That's why I didn't want you to mix up my words and what I'm saying, but I understand what you could have interpreted what I was saying. I
Well,
understand that part of it, but
my
I'm saying in the transition, I couldn't tell you if someone could be 100 years old and then that sin that they're trying to complete wouldn't make it to 200, 300, or 400 years. See, at that point in time, if we look at it from a physical standpoint in this day and time, that's like you saying somebody's going to die at 10 versus 100. Because we're not used to living to be 100 years old in this day and age. So 10 is equivalent to 100 years, as 100 is equivalent to 1,000 years. If you understand my position.
See,
So that's what I'm trying to say to you, and I just didn't want you to confuse that with an actual time period. 1,000 years old, 100 years old. That sin. That person's sin could be that curse in that time. But think about it. They had 800 to 900 almost years left to live, but because they didn't get it right, they had to go. Now, I can't tell you exactly how all that's going to happen. I'm just telling you when that time comes and that 1,000 years is up, it will be here no more.
See,
it's going to be, and if I'll say this so I don't misspeak. It's going to be where, and the Bible talks about it, where Satan's going to be re-released and he's not going to find one to go into, which means that no one is going to go back to sin. They're going to refuse it. So at that point in time, there will be no sin. Only sin that will be on earth at that time is Satan trying to bait the people to do what Satan once did at that point 7,000 years ago.
Very interesting.
That's the best way to say it to you.
Is it fair to say that you are changing your argument?
No, I'm not changing it. I'm explaining it so that we're on the same page, because I never gave a time period. The only thing I said that was a time period is when Satan is re-released, Satan will not find anyone to go into to then make them go back to sin, which means at that time there will be no sin. So brother, always said at the end,
we're not arguing a time frame. I agree. You didn't give me a time frame. I'm a witness. Right. Bear with me. What you did say, however, was a time constraint. I want you to understand that we didn't speak
on what you mean a time constraint.
We didn't speak of how many years this transitional period would be. We did not nail that down, and it wasn't necessary.
No, I did nail that down. I said 1,000 years. I did nail that down.
No, brother, you just said that you don't have a time period for the transitional period.
No. I have.
You literally just said that. Did you just say that?
I don't mean a transition period of the time of when it ends. It's 1,000-year period. What I said the transition period is of when sin will leave.
That's what I'm talking about.
Right. I can't give you an exact on that. That's what I said. But I said
that's what I'm talking about.
It won't be there.
That's what I'm talking about. So if I could, during your explanation of this, you did constrain yourself though, and you did do it chronologically without giving dates and years and an amount of time. The way that you constrained yourself was that you said the transition, if we use this text, verses 17 through 19, you said the transition is over by the time that people start to live their full age. And you had really said that the transition was over at verse 19. What I did was give you a little extra leeway because we were talking about the infant of days and the old man fulfilling his days. You agreed. You said that the transition is over at this point. But
That
what
was
you're doing is,
slow down, bro, slow down. Because again, and if this was said, but I'd have to go back and look, then it's a
it was.
it was misspoke. I'm not going to agree or disagree.
That's why
But
I'm asking you if you're changing
hold on.
your argument. Are you now saying that the transition is still in play after verse 20?
The transition is in play when the 1,000 years is going on that whole time. That's why I said to you, I think you're misunderstanding how I'm speaking.
I'm not misunderstanding you. This
Okay.
is the thing.
Did you remember?
A transition, brother, real quick. I'm going to take over real quick. A transition is a process of a changing from one state to another. We both agree that there's a transition from a wicked state to a righteous state, from a sinful state to a state where you propose no one is going to be sinning. So what I'm trying to do is entertain your logic, and I'm following you in your argumentation. Your argument was that it is a transition to sinlessness. And you said that at the end of the transition, people will then live out their full days and that there would be no more infinite days. I said, so you saying that by the time that we see people are no longer the infinite days dying, are you saying that is the end of the transition, which indicates that we are now transitioned, not in the middle of a transition, but have transitioned into sinlessness? You adopting that argumentation and me entertaining it, I confirmed it with you. You said yes. So what I'm saying is that there's a contradiction in this very text. Either the transition is over when people start to meet their full days, or you are changing your argument and you're saying that people who are sinners will be able to live beyond their younger years. People are going to be sinners and they're going to be able to live longer. Is that what you're saying?
Again, you can't, and this is what I tried to say to you earlier, you can't pinpoint a time. None of us knows when
I'm not pinpointing the time, brother. I'm pinpointing that there's either a transition or there's not, brother.
Hold on, brother. Let me finish. Now, I stepped back. You said you wanted the floor. Reciprocate. So again, a transition, this transition is going to be 1,000-year period.
What I want to know is, after the transition is over, are people going to be sinning?
No.
Yes or no?
That's what I've been trying to say to you the whole time.
I get that I get that you're saying that, but you're giving it and you're taking it away.
No, I did
when
not.
I initially, brother, you have now done it. You've now done it at least 3 times, and I'm asking you in this way so that it is shown that as we're having this discussion, you're literally saying things to me, and then you're forgetting that you're saying them.
No,
I'm not trying to embarrass you, but if we're having a discussion for truths, I said I am not trying to embarrass you, but what I am trying to demonstrate is that if for truth's sake we're having a discussion, your answer should not go back and forth 3 times. We should land at one conclusive place, and we should not have to double back in this manner. You said the transition is over. Again, we're visiting this transition notion.
When did I say the transition be over?
A transition ends, and that's what you call a culmination.
No, so I said when. Now listen to me. I asked you, when did I say it would be over? Because I'm beginning to think that you're not paying attention to what I say.
You did not give me how long it would take.
I did give it to you. That's I said 1,000. Listen, brother, I did.
You said the transition of wickedness to righteousness is 1,000 years when Satan comes back.
No. Again.
Okay, go ahead.
This is what I said to you. I prefaced it by saying when Adam and Eve fell, there was a transition. They went from not sinning to sinning, but they were the first not to sin. I mean, the first to sin. So therefore, I said it then permeated the world. I said the transition is going to work similar to that, like that. It's just not going to from being sinful to being to not sinning again.
Okay. And you're saying it's
Okay,
1,000 years to take to get there.
this is why. Now, when all the sin will be eradicated out of the people, I couldn't give you a time frame. The only thing that I can tell you is that when that Satan is re-released at the end of that 1,000 years of bondage, and this is why I say you couldn't have been listening to what I was saying, or maybe you just didn't understand what I was saying. So when
So
I
the
said that
1,000
statement,
years of bondage takes place within the transition
yeah,
from
well, that one,
sinfulness.
let me explain to you this way.
Wait.
This,
How about don't explain it, because you're a little
hold
bit
on, let me
more
just
articulate and you want to explain
hold
it.
on,
How
brother.
about allow me to try to digest what you're saying? I'm
Well,
asking you questions because you have been
I got
long-winded
you.
in your explanations, and I still don't understand you. So just
Well,
let
that's
me
why I said I
ask
want to
you.
say it this way. This would be the best way to say it for you. Two things can't rule at the same time.
Right,
Okay. So for 6,000 years, wickedness and evil was allowed to permeate the earth and try to make the people go against the true creator. Now,
right,
in the last 1,000 years, the creator comes back to take the creator's people back. Now, at that time, the creator is going to be locked away for 1,000 years, and then the creator will begin to open up the hearts and change the mind of the people within that 1,000 years. Now, at the end of that 1,000 years, that same Satan will be re-released and will try to do what it once did, and it will not be able to, and then it will go into the abyss. It will no longer exist, meaning that people will no longer be sinful.
by the time the transition is over.
There you go. And that's all I've been saying the whole time.
I've been arriving at that same conclusion with you. So the problem that I have is you said that when that transition is over, the child shall die at 100 years old. I said, are you telling me? This is why I said, do you want to change your position? So you have the opportunity to do that. But I said, are you telling me that the child will die at 100 years old when the transition is over? Is that when it's come to a conclusion? You said yes. Do you remember that, brother?
Yeah, let me explain to you so you understand what that means.
Do you remember that? Yes or no?
Yes,
I don't
yes. In
want
that
to.
case,
Oh,
yes, I'm explaining
okay.
because
All
I
right.
don't think we're talking spiritual conversation now, and you're putting the physical realm with the spiritual world. So now I understand why you're confounded.
I mean,
So
that's what language is for, brother.
okay, well, that's why I understand why you're confounded now. When a child, and I think I kind of almost said this, a child at 10 years old dies. That's a child. Now, when you talk about someone being 100 years old, they're going to be an adult, but it's like a child dying at 5, 6, 7 years old at 100 years old.
Right, because we're going to be living fuller years. There's no
Thank
confusion
you.
on that, brother. There's no
So
confusion on that.
now
That's
tell
not
me
the issue.
what we're missing. Tell me what I'm missing that you're saying,
So
because I'm not understanding where you're going at.
again, brother, and what I want you to do this time is tell me what I'm telling you my issue is, right? I agree that that is exactly what that means. The problem that I'm having is that you said when the child shall die at 100 years old and people are living that long, that is when the transition is over and this prophecy has reached its fullness, and that is where you see no more sin. You said that. I
Oh,
said, is
hold
that
on.
what you're saying? You said yes.
All right, then
Do you
hold on.
hear real
Let me
quick
just
before you make any argumentation,
go ahead.
brother? Before you
Go
make
ahead.
any argumentation, can you repeat to me what I am saying you said, and then I'm gonna finish my statement.
Well, you're basically reiterating what the scripture is talking about: the child dying at 100 years old, and then you're talking about
No,
the
brother.
sinner dying.
What am I saying that you said? What I just asked you to do was repeat what
You're
I said.
saying that the transition. You're saying that my position to you was that when the child turns 100 years old and dying, that means the transition is over.
No,
Again,
no,
that's what you're.
that's not what I'm saying. What I asked you was, so let's just slow it down. Reading the text, there shall be no more events in infant of days, nor an old man that have not filled his days, for the child shall die at 100 years old. And so what I was asking you is, are we going to start seeing these things when the transition is over? Is this what's going to be happening when sin is gone? You said yes.
Yes.
So it wasn't about this being a time frame. I was saying, can we mark the end of the transition when we start to see people living the fullness of their life? You said yes. Do you remember that?
I said that the fullness of life, as far as this, is going to be within that 1,000 years transition. That's what I said.
So
Do you
you said
remember that?
in the 1,000-year transition, people are going to start living up to 100 years.
Past 100. Well past.
Okay. So what I want you to know is that you have affirmed two different stances here. And that's what I'm trying to give you the opportunity to do. I'm trying to give you the opportunity to firmly stand on one side so that we can move forward. And this is why
I've always stood on the same side. I don't know what you're talking about, but I've said it and I've not changed it. Period. I don't understand what you're saying. I'm switching sides. There's no, I've always mentioned a transition. I've always told you I couldn't tell you within that time period, but I can tell you how long the transition is. That's why I had you go to 2 Peter 3:8, because we're going to be in that last day, which is the day of Sabbath, which is the day of rest. So we're transitioning to a time period. Now, when inside that 1,000 years, these things will have been at its fullness, I couldn't tell you exactly that. There's nothing for me, because I'm not the creator, to say this time period. But what I can tell you is that after the end of this transition is over, then that last 1,000 years, that one will be released and try to re-enter to cause us to sin again. That will not happen. So at the time when that one, which was your question, well, are you saying at the end, will there not be sin? And I said yes, and I explained why yes. So that's why I'm not understanding when you're saying I'm going back on something. I'm thinking you're reaching for something that's not there, because this, I guess it's because you have it highlighted, but the sinner being 100 years shall be accursed. And I said it's a transition. So that sinner could be there. And I explained to you that's like a 10-year-old child dying because this one, in this case, as an adult, couldn't get it right. So there's going to be that grace and mercy to try to get there. It's not that the creator's going to say, oh, just kill them all at one point in time. I don't believe that. I'm not the one to say that that's true or not true. I think there is going to be a calamity. I just don't know how that's going to happen.
Okay. So these people, as they die, those people that are the sinners the tares?
Are they who?
Are they the tares? You know the parable of the wheat and the tares?
Refresh my memory. I have heard that.
The parable of the wheat and the tares is where Christ said,
I haven't. Well, let me say this so we're on the same page. We're all going to die. So I don't want you to think that I'm saying nobody, if you get to this 1,000 years, you live forever. No, the flesh goes back into the earth. So I just want to make sure, because I kind of got that inkling when you were talking. So I just want to make sure we're not on that page.
No, I agree.
Okay. I just was making sure. So, I mean, if you want to pull up the wheat and the tares, I haven't heard that in a minute.
All right.
So we can pull it up. See, and while you're doing that, some people won't even be able to handle it and going to want to die.
So this is Luke chapter 3. And before we go to the parable, let's just look at this concept. It says, as the people were in expectation, and all men mused in their hearts of John, whether he were Christ or not. John answered, saying unto them all, I indeed baptize you with water, but one mightier than I cometh, the latchet of whose shoes I am not worthy to unloose. He shall baptize you with the Holy Ghost and with fire, whose fan is in his hand. He will thoroughly purge his floor and will gather the wheat into his garner, but the chaff will he burn with fire unquenchable. Are you familiar with this agricultural?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That will be the division of the people.
So the people that are getting burnt up, are those the sinners?
That would be the sinners.
So how do they make it in this
when you
transition?
say, excuse me,
How do they make it in this transition?
again, it's in phase. It's going to be in phase. That this is my belief here, because I can't give you a 1000% answer on that. This is my belief that it is going to happen. I believe there's going to be a great calamity, and then through that, it's going to phase those out that does not do what they're supposed to do as far as living. Because right now we've been given life. In the spirit world, you have to earn your life. It's two different things. You have to be accountable. You have to stop smoking, drinking, fornicating, lying, stealing, cheating, all of that stuff. You have to do it on your own. So those who are not strong enough, they will be that sinner. They will be that one in the unquenchable fire.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying to you. And I'm saying to you, I don't know what the quote unquote cutoff period of when all people will be under that one roof at that one time. I just know at the end they will be. How many years will that sin remain in that 1,000 years? Only the Creator knows that.
Very interesting.
So,
So
I mean, if that's what you were trying to get an answer to, you would have never got an answer that way.
So yeah, that is what I'm trying to come to an understanding on now. So you're saying that at the end of the transition, that's when the sinners get burnt up.
No, what I'm saying to you is no, it's gonna be no before that. Again, I'm explaining to you, I just can't tell you when. Do you understand what I'm saying? Again, when I say the word transition, it's a phasing out period.
What I'm saying is before the transition starts or after it ends. That's what I'm asking you is, are they going to be burned up after the transition is over or
In the
before
in
the
the
transition starts?
in the interim of the transition is what I've been saying the whole time.
In the midst of the transition, the
Right,
sinners
there
going to be
you go.
burned up.
Now, it could be 300 years down the line. It could be 200 years. It could be 50. I don't know that. I couldn't tell you that. I'm just telling you that at the end of this all, at that, and I don't see, let me say it to you this way. I don't see sin living too much longer once this is all said and done. Because for one, when that every knee bows and that every tongue confess, and that sun, that moon is removed from out of the earth for 3 days and 3 nights, and that man is on earth, and that happens, you're going to see a great change. Now, some people won't want to be here. It's just them. I've talked to people and I've said, I've had this conversation, and they say to themselves, I couldn't live like that. It's not for everybody.
Very, very, very interesting. So here's the next issue that I take. We have explored very little of the text. And I hear that you're saying that within the confines of the new heavens and the new earth, explained in Isaiah 65, verses 17 through 20, are inside of some transitional period. You're saying that the wicked are going to be burnt up within a transitional period, within that very transitional period. And within that same transitional period, people will start to live fuller lives.
There you go.
This is the transition between wickedness and righteousness. However, that same text explains that Israel will have repented and then been delivered to their own land before this transition that you say is going to take place. Can you put some light on that using the same chapter, Isaiah 65?
Well, if you're referring to, I don't call it Israel. The proper pronunciation is Israel. I'm a child of Israel. So there's two different things here. You're
proper translation.
Because what does RAEL spell?
What?
What does REAL spell?
Real.
Okay, what does RAEL spell?
Right.
All right, so you're a child of Israel.
Okay.
I'm a child of Israel. I come by this way. When you know who I is, you know I's real. So that's
I
is
real.
real. Israel, I see as Ra and El, sun God.
Which one's right?
Are you a sun God worshiper?
No.
Then you shouldn't be saying that you're from the people of Israel then, because that's what that
You
means,
know,
Ra and El. That's
it's not
Jacob
what
is
it means, bro.
Israel. Jacob
That
is
is so.
Israel. Let's get
That
this
is
clear.
so pseudo, brother.
Jacob is Israel, my brother.
Brother, stop
No
it.
way
It
around
is
it.
so, that is so pseudo. It's simple
Bro,
phonetics. Just because it sounds like a thing doesn't mean it is a thing.
bro.
This
You
is
know,
this is what happens. Israel is just what happens when white people get hold of a language that they need to affix to their own alphabetic and phonetic system. That's all that is. There's
so
no need to
are
add
you telling me
pride.
that your phonics? Are you telling me you have an issue with your phonics? Because you just said Rael spells Rael. I mean Rael spells Rael. So now why are you
No,
contradicting what you just said?
I didn't say I have an issue with the phonics or the phonetics. I said that is just what happens when phonetics mix with another language. It's transliteration, translation. Essentially, we could just call it dilution. What I'm saying is it's not that deep, brother.
Well, no, I would say it is that deep, and that's what
I don't
happened.
call it Israel on a
Well,
regular basis, and I don't call it Israel. Neither of those are the proper pronunciation. Is why I'm saying this. Let's not do that. That's too
well, no,
pseudo.
no, 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 no. Let you not do that. I'm going to do what I'm going to do.
But
So,
Israel can't possibly be the correct pronunciation, being
well,
as
then how would you pronounce it?
I is Latin, right? That I is
No,
Latin in the
how
beginning
would
of
you pronounce? No,
Israel.
no, no, no. Stay English. Stay English. Now you're jumping.
You said
Now,
stay English, but you were talking
no,
about proper
I said
pronunciation
your
or not.
right. Your proper pronunciation. So when you
Proper
break,
pronunciation would
when
not be
you
Israel or Israel, is what I'm saying, because linguistically, the word is not Israel, it's not Israel, it's
what is it?
Israel, even if you want to deal with the modern Hebrew. So, what I'm trying to do is say,
Whoa,
brother, let's not go there because we're not
no,
honoring
no, no,
even
bro.
the latest rendition of Hebrew.
Let's. We're not. First of all, the word Israel is not Hebrew.
I didn't say it was.
Oh,
I
okay.
just said
So,
Israel is what happens when another language gets a hold of the ancient tongue and it's
that's how it's spelled in
diluted,
your. Hold on. That's how it's spelled in your Bible. So now you have
brother.
a problem with the way that you're supposed to pronounce the word.
Brother, that is not how you're supposed to pronounce the word. It's a proper noun. A proper noun is something
What?
that's supposed to hold its form. It's disrespectful, honestly. But
No,
for
that's
the
not. No,
sake
no.
of speaking
You're
to
right.
the
It's
for the
disrespectful to say
for the sake of
Israel
speaking to
is
the
real. That's
common for the purpose of speaking to the common people who are reading the text, we are dealing with the English translation, yes. But when we talk about proper pronunciation or not, we should not yield to an I at the beginning of the word on either end. That's what I'm saying, bro. That's all I'm saying.
brother. That makes no sense. But I mean, my point is made, so we can move past that.
Your
You
point
know,
is it doesn't make sense.
my point is made. You can't have the word Israel and then have the word Israel and say they are pronounced the same way.
You
That's
can't make it.
ridiculous.
Let's get back
And
into the
you're
text.
an intelligent brother, so I'm kind of like
Let's
kind of
get back
taken
into the
back by it.
text, bro.
Let me say this to you because I watched your show, and one thing I did enjoy was your decorum. And I'm taken back that you won't admit that that doesn't spell Israel. You wanted to go about Latin and Hebrew, and all we were doing was just
I don't think
speaking
you're
Latin.
listening to what I said, brother. I think sometimes it is easier to watch certain people than it is to speak to them, and that might be what's
Brother.
going on. I did not defend the pronunciation of Israel or Israel. What I said was neither of them are the proper pronunciation. They are
No, no,
both.
whoa. So now you're telling me that you're the authority of how to pronounce something?
Yes, brother.
Brother, come on now. Let's
You
be real.
should be.
No. Well, if it's pronounced correctly, I would agree with you.
Watch. Let's play
I
a
would agree
game.
with you. But you just can't make that up. You can look at the word right there and see you don't see the word real in Israel at all. So how do you
No.
come to that conclusion?
Let's do this. Where do you see Israel?
Pull up the word Israel.
No, I'm talking about here. Where do you see the word Israel?
See what I mean, brother? You see why this is let me say this to you. This is what brothers do when they can't defend, and this is why you're the Hebrew Israelites will never be able to touch the people in a whole, because it said it's so easy that a child would understand it. So now you pull up, hold up, let me say this.
Brother,
You pull
you're
up
being
Hebrew
very
text,
prideful.
Mosaic text, and then say
You're
what does
being
this
very
say?
prideful,
Come
brother.
on, brother.
There should be a lesson in this. So this says Weomer lo Jacob Yamer od Simka. Okay. Im Yisrael. So what I'm trying to say is that,
Say it again. Yes, what? Yes, what?
brother, just
No,
chill
just
for
say
it.
how you said it again. Pronounce
Just
that part you said again.
just chill for a second, because I'm saying this for the audience, not for you. So I
Well,
would appreciate you
that's
letting
fine.
me finish this
I'm just
point for
asking
the
you, could you
audience.
repeat it? I'm the audience at this
How
time. Could you
about
repeat that again for
can
me?
you just wait? I will cue you back in, brother. I'm saying this for the audience sake. So this says Im Yisrael. What I've been trying to say to the brother is that even if we're going to say that we should be respectful to the most modern version of Hebrew, the proper pronunciation is not Israel or Israel. The reason that I said this is because the brother said what the proper pronunciation was. Neither of those pronunciations that the brother uttered are even honoring the most modern version of Hebrew. That's what I've been saying the whole time. I'm not defending Israel or Israel. I'm saying that if we're going to talk about proper pronunciation, we should look at how the original languages rendered it. That's all I've been trying to say this whole time, brother.
But that's perfect, because you did pronounce it Israel. So that's
no,
perfect.
I didn't. I did not. I just said
Okay,
Yisrael. Yis is not is.
Oh, Yisrael.
Right.
Right. But you're still saying Rael at the end, not real, not Yisrael.
Right,
Real.
brother.
Okay, so
That's
that's
all. That's what I've
fine.
been saying all the
As long as you're on
time.
that Rael, we're good. We're good.
Can
We're
we
good.
deal with the let's go back to the text before this gets too crazy. So Isaiah 65, there's some incriminating evidence there with regards to your argument. So I want to allow you to work it out. Isaiah 65, the translators have done us a courtesy of illustrating or prefacing the sections of this text. So it starts off with Israel being addressed as a rebellious people, right? And then it talks about a transition. And I'd say the transition starts at 9. It says, I will bring forth a seed out of Jacob and out of Judah, an inheritor of my mountains, and mine elect shall inherit it, and my servants shall dwell there. All of the other prophecies say that this happens after Israel repents and that the iniquity has gone out of Jacob. What's your stance on that, brother?
The iniquity, as far as going out of Jacob, as far as Jacob, the individual, or his children?
His children, the seed out of Jacob.
Well,
The inheritor of the mountains, mine elect shall inherit it. What the other prophecies say is that before they inherit the mountains in the dwelling place, they have to repent. And so I don't understand how the transition begins prior. I don't understand how the transition starts after they have already repented, basically. It doesn't, there's nowhere else where you can try to substantiate a transition after Israel's deliverance. That's
well,
what I'm saying.
Israel's deliverance will happen the same time that the other nations that can't be numbers deliverance. So we'll all be having that deliverance, and we'll all be going through that trial. It's a period of time we're going to go through. See, and this is how kind of what we were talking about. We were talking about the salvation is kind of how this all was supposed to start out. So Israel will only have 144,000 people there. And that's only
When though? When will those 144,000 be there?
that's during the time of Revelations.
After the transition or before the transition, brother?
During the transition. It's
Okay,
not
so
after, it's not before, it's during the transition.
so what I'm saying is all of the prophecies say that this will happen
Let me
and
see.
Israel will be delivered after a transition, not in the middle of a transition. The transition being them repenting, coming back to the Most High. When they repent, come back to the Most High, he will deliver the elect that have repented out of the various captivities and then put them in the wilderness where all the rebels will be killed, and then they will enter into the land. You said the transition starts somewhere as they have entered into the land and they start to inherit these bodies where they live longer days. And I'm saying that's problematic because there are no prophecies that line up with this notion. So what I would like for you to do is reconcile that.
Okay. Here's how I can reconcile it. I'll try to do it this way. And I'll use Jesus as a benchmark for you because he came to the children of Israel. All of the people, when Jesus came, didn't get it right away, who he was. They fought against it. So again, this is what I'm trying to say. Things are happening in forms of a transition. And I said the time that it will be the most prevalent and change will come about is when that every knee will bow and that every tongue will confess. And in that time period, still, it's going to have to be a change of hearts. And everybody is not going to do it. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. Now, out of Israel, you only get 144,000 Israelites. That's it. The only amount of people that is allowed in that hereafter, in that heaven from Jacob's seed will be 144,000. The other ones that the nations can't multiply, they come from the seed of Abraham, not Jacob.
How do you substantiate that the other nations that are innumerable multitude are from the tribes of Abraham?
Sure, because and this is what's sad with Israel. The promise was given to Abraham. Okay, so when it was told to the seed of Abraham, it wasn't told to the seed of Jacob in that manner. Jacob tried to come behind Abraham and then tried to steal that the same way they did with Esau. This is what the people and the children of Jacob do.
Jacob tried to steal the promise from Abraham.
And if you're saying, and which I'll just say what I hear from most Hebrew Israelites is that the 144,000 that are being talked about and the nations that can't be numbered are all Israelites.
Yeah, that's 100% true.
Exactly. So as I said, that's hold on. That's being then at that point in time, you're excluding Abraham. So, like I said, the same thing that Jacob tried to do to Esau, Jacob is trying to do to Abraham, and that's nonsense.
This is very interesting in perspective. So you're saying that the promise is to Abraham in general, right?
That there was nobody else there. It was just Abraham that was given that promise. It said your seed. It said Abraham's seed. Jacob is a piece of so-called Abraham's seed. I don't even believe that. But that's another story for another time.
This is interesting. So let's go to Genesis 17. You were saying that the promise is to Abraham in general, but when the promise is given, we're told something completely different. Genesis 17:18 says, Abraham said unto God, oh, that Ishmael might live before thee. And God said, Sarah thy wife shall bear thee a son indeed, and thou shalt call his name Isaac, and I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant, and with his seed after him. So right here, we see any precedent being taken from the rest of Abraham's seed. And then we use Ishmael as a direct example. It says, and as for Ishmael, I have heard thee. Behold, I have blessed him and will make him fruitful and will multiply him exceedingly. 12 princes shall he beget, and I will make him a great nation. But what promises did his other sons with Keturah get? When it says that the promise goes to Isaac. Can you show me any text where? Can you show me any text where the promise to Abraham goes to anybody but Isaac, brother?
I never know Abraham's seed. Let's get this clear.
I'm talking about Abraham's seed.
Wait.
It specifies the seed is Isaac, brother.
Listen to me, brother.
No. It's gonna get like this, brother. I want you to pause. The task you gotta undertake is one task and one task only.
Okay, are you talking about the promise?
Expressly says the text expressly says that the seed in reference here is Isaac.
Coming from Isaac. I'm not disputing that.
It says that I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant, and with his seed after him. The his is Isaac, so it's no longer Abraham in general.
You
hear what I'm asking you, brother?
100%.
What? Okay, so show me where any other of Abraham's seed gets the promise. Listen, when the promise is being given.
Hold on, brother.
Don't leave the Torah into knock, brother. Show me.
He said,
you go to Revelation, if you go to anywhere else, this gotta stop.
Hold on, brother. It says Abraham's seed.
It says Isaac's seed, brother.
No.
Isaac's
slow down, brother.
I'm not slowing down, brother.
I want to be on the same page with you.
No, this is climactic. Do not
go
back to
I'm really going to make it climactic for you. Then let's do it then. So here, let's read this. Let's read this very well. I want you to read
Verse 19.
Brother, you just that's it. That's your kill shot right here. It says, and God said, Sarah, thy wife shall bear thee a son. Indeed, and thou shalt call his name Isaac. I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant. We agree with that, right?
Right.
And then it says, and with his seed after. You see that word after? Hold on. You see that word after?
Yes.
So whoever comes after Abraham.
No, after Isaac, brother.
I mean, Isaac, excuse me. Whoever comes after Isaac. Who comes after Isaac? Esau comes after
Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. That's how it goes.
No. Don't change the text. I'm going to ask you now, who comes after Isaac?
Esau and Jacob, brother.
Who?
Esau and Jacob,
Esau.
brother.
Whoa. Let's do this slow. Esau comes after. Then Jacob comes. So let's get this clear. Esau is the seed after. This is what you asked, so I'm giving it to you. So Esau comes after. See, the problem is you can try to steal a birthright and a blessing, but you could never take the actual seed. That's why when they get to Jesus, the product of Isaac, I mean not the product of Jacob and David, and then when Mary goes to have a child, there's no seed there. There's no seed. All of a sudden, this God angel intervenes. The whole time, it's always been about the seed. So why has the Israelites taken the seed away from this? Because they never had it. It's always been with Esau.
I'm confused, brother.
I know you would be confused at that because that's the truth. And it's contrary to what you want to believe. You brought me to the scripture 19, which I know that now this is where I love to be at.
Do you remember saying that the promise was for all of Abraham's seed, brother?
Yes, and I'm not denying that. What this seed is about.
How does this text help you prove that?
Sure, I'm going to show you what I mean by that. So now, make it real plain. When Jesus comes in the world, Jesus said he is only sent to one type of people, Israel. So therefore, he can't be the seed from Abraham because Abraham's seed goes to all of the people.
What?
Yes. Because listen, because when Abraham's seed comes, he comes to the world. That's where in the Bible it says that, where is it at? In Genesis, what is it? John 1? Hold on, give me a second.
Oh my God, this is crazy.
No, it's not crazy.
No,
it might seem crazy.
It's disrespectful.
No, I think what y'all been doing been disrespectful for a long time. So Not a problem. Welcome to my world.
You find context disrespectful, brother? Is that it?
I find somebody butchering the context disrespectful.
How are you not butchering the context by reading something that clearly said the promise goes to Isaac, and then saying
it said
to the seed, all of Abraham's seed, when it even tells you that it doesn't even go to Abraham's firstborn son?
Well, we both agree to that, because
but you said all, so all is eliminated once there's a
hold on, but then isn't there a text that says the people that have a heart likened to Abraham, or faith like Abraham? No, I'm sorry. It's the word, hold up, it's the word faith. Hold up, it's the word faith. Let me get it right. The word faith like Abraham. So those can be like an adopted seed or a child to the faith that Abraham had. Now, everybody doesn't come through Abraham's seed, because that's one bloodline. But that seed that Abraham was given was to be given to his son, which was to be given to his son all the way down the end of the line until a child is born, where that spirit is placed in that child. That's why Jesus, so-called, went and got baptized. And that's when he heard, my son who I am well pleased, because the seed is only a physical part of it. There's another transition when you go into Genesis 1, it says, and I will put the spirit upon the face of the waters. That waters is the Jordan River. The difference between myself and what you read in here, I'm in this book. I'm coming out of this book.
If Genesis, and when it says the spirit on the waters is talking about the Jordans, then what are the great waters being mentioned? What is that talking about?
I would have to look at it, because you may be talking about something I've read or not read. So I would have to look at it.
I'm talking about that you was read and you don't even know that you read it.
Well,
it's
listen,
right
bro. Again, I'm not held to this book. Let's get this clear. I said that earlier. I wanted to get that established.
So you're not held to it, but we've been butchering it, but you can't understand it, and you want to go to other. You want to say that you can go to other books. Brother, to be honest, we're gonna give you the opportunity to go to one other aspect of the discussion.
Hold on. Where did I butcher it? Who's the seed after Isaac, brother? Tell me honestly. Who's the seed?
We already went over this, brother. We already went over this. It's Esau first, and then Jacob. And Jacob's the one that got the covenant, brother. And then Israel got the covenant from there, brother.
Hold on. Let me ask you this question.
Ain't no hold on, brother.
I want to ask you a sincere question.
The sincere question, no, we're moving on, brother.
Wait, bro. Hold on.
No.
What's wrong?
No, we're gonna move on, okay?
You don't want to be in this area. This is deep water.
Yeah, I don't want to see an old man drown.
Well, listen, young man. You coming with me? Yeah. You coming with me? You coming with me?
No, I'm not.
Go ahead. If I'm drowning, you dead.
The fuck no. This is the problem. This is the problem. Matter of fact, on that note, the nigga gotta go, man. This is the problem I got with you old motherfuckers, man. Your responsibility was to lift us up above the waters, but you want to drag us down with you. Shit is disrespectful, bro. And I'm over here not flaming you so we can have an actual discussion. I want you to understand the conversation's over while you sitting back there smiling and laughing. I done blocked your weird ass everywhere, so don't even hit me up no more. Disrespectful, brother. If I go down, you going down with me. I'm gonna agree with you. If I was to join hand in hand with 90% of you old motherfuckers, I would go down with you. This is why it says that out of the mouth of babes shall praise be perfected. I want you to understand that. I had the privilege of speaking to a mighty elder the other day, and I want you to understand that you can never be half of him, sir. Never. You never could, because you have no respect for the Most High. You have no humility. You got no respect for his word. And I'll be goddamned if I sit here and pretend like this shit's hee ha ha. I don't have enough with you cheap clapping ass old niggas. Enough of that shit. Anybody else want to click the link while I get my breath back up under me and get my decorum back together? I'm going to drop the link. Anybody else want to come defend Gentile salvation? I'm going to drop the link. drop the link. This shit is crazy. Crazy disrespectful. This nigga's blocked on everything. Unbelievable. It's just a game. Like, this is the problem. This is the problem that I've been having, is like, this is a blood sport, and this is a game for a lot of y'all. It's not a game for me. Don't hit my phone talking about let's have a discussion if it's a game for you. Don't hit nothing. Don't hit my goddamn email. Don't be in the comments talking about let's have a discussion if it's a game for you. Not if you an Israelite. If you a cracker, I'll go ahead and bust your head for free. No qualms about it. But you Israelites don't have no disingenuous discussion with me. Don't do it, bro. You break my heart when you do it. If that's cool with you, then I want you to understand how I feel about you. It's fuck you too. You know, we live and die about this shit at Fire of God. And I know there's plenty of other brothers that live and die about edifying this nation. That's why I'm here instead of spending time with my wife, not to listen to some old nigga get his shit off. You hear me? This is not where you come and you get your spotlight and you get your shine on. This ain't Sign Letter TV where you can come pretend like you know some shit you really don't know what you're talking about. This ain't none of that. This ain't where you come to hear some new thing. This is where you come to humble yourself, not where you come to make a name for yourself. Telling you right now, that name gonna get written on a tombstone fucking with me. And I'm obviously speaking in the proverbial sense, but I'm telling you, I suffer a lot of you, a lot more than you even understand. I suffer you a lot more than a lot of y'all can understand. I'm dropping one more link. Shout out to all y'all that came through. Like, share, and subscribe. Salakia for me getting upset. You know, the foul language. I pray there were no children around hearing that. Salakia. God. Each time you say GD, you are damning God. How am I damning God when I'm saying I'm the one that would be God damned, which is damned by God? That's what God damned means. It doesn't mean damn God. Thank you, Eddie. Fuck. I can't believe it. Like that, goddamn. You running from an old man. Look, if you not that old man, go ahead and click the link. If you that old man, I'm just gonna block you on this too. Let's talk about Gentile salvation. Y'all is crazy. Smoking that crystal on that Fent pack. Look, Sister Kenya Shalom, Brother Tazapanya Shalom, Eliaban Yahweh Shalom. Even though you said what you said and maybe you didn't understand what you were saying, Eddie Saleh Shalom, N.A. Shalom, Gabar Yahweh Shalom, Brother Emmanuel Shalom. It's definitely weird out here. Kazap Arayah Shalom. Brother Lonnie Shalom. I thought Pender was hiding. Shalom, Shalom. Makazaya Sharala Shalom. I hope all y'all doing well. Divine, I am King. Shalom. Lily was Hannah. Shalom. Erek Shalom. Like, share, and subscribe. Leader for Christ. Shalom. In due time, 5. Shalom. Look, man, we about to wrap it up, man. Since nobody's going to click the link and have a serious discussion, We're just gonna keep it moving, I guess. Put a fire emoji in the chat if I should drop the link one more time, just in case. Fire emojis in the chat if I should drop the link one more time, just in case something fruitful comes through. One in the chat if that was enough for the night. I got one flame in the chat. It's crazy because these are the hours where the comments be coming through, where people be acting like they want to come hop on a live stream. People be want to tell me all about Jesus. They want to tell me all about Jesus in the comment section. Don't come on if you don't want no smoke. If you want to discuss Gentile salvation, though, we can talk about Gentile salvation. If you want to defend Gentile salvation, that is. That's it. So with the racks, let's talk about it. It don't have to be smoke. It only becomes smoke when, well, you'll see. Just click the link. We can talk about it. Let Bell, let's talk about the Bible real quick. Patience of the saints, shalom. He said, if you think salvation is for all, you just don't understand the Bible. Oh, you know what? You don't need to click the link. Look, I'm thinking you're saying something else. Maybe I need to be done. Look, we're not defending salvation for all. Salvation is for Israel only. The only people that should be clicking the link is people that think salvation is for everybody. That's all. Shout out to Water Racks. My bad. Shalakia. But the link is out there one more time. Anybody want to defend Gentile salvation? Judah in the house said old Negroes play too much while Esau is prepping for civil war. That's 100% correct. Playing way too much. Okay, well, Eddie, click the link, man. God. It don't gotta be that hard. Click the link and let's talk about it. Y'all make it so complicated. So complicated. Yeah, my bad, Water Racks. Look, that's why it's good that I got some time to cool down for the next person to pull up. That dude, man, he got me hot. Salakia, peace. You heard Tyler Pioneer. He said, pull up, Eddie. I don't even know if I'm saying it right. I'm trying to be disrespectful. Click the link. Eddie. Defend Gentile salvation. It's crazy. A Christian will come on here and leave 12 comments. You know, they'll drop a whole pamphlet full of scriptures, but won't click the link. Not even doing nothing heavy over here. Do 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 do. Look, we're gonna give it 60 seconds and we out of here. Well, look, man, I appreciate y'all for coming through. Like, share, subscribe, support the ministry any way that you see fit. We get boots on the ground in every city slowly but surely. Be the first boots on the ground with Fire of God in your city. Hit the email up at fireofgodclassroom@gmail.com. Come get equipped. Come hit the streets with us. Come hit the airways with us. Come do this flyer duty with us. Come evangelize with us. Come bring back the lost tribes of Israel with us. Teach them the gospel. Teach them the law, statutes, and commandments. Teach them to walk uprightly with us. You can support the ministry financially. You can do so via Fire of God Camp 12 on Cash App with a $sign in front, or you could do so at $Ashrakar. Help me get this library up, because you know we love busting with them sources over here. That being said, though, I appreciate you, family. Have a peaceful night. Bashem Yahawashi, Barakatham, Washalom.
King Corn beats be killing shit.
We was powers on this earth once, and we was all about the mirth once. Idol worship, murder like the first of the month. Hit a nigga with the bick like you need a light. That's what you do when you on fourth, or else you got a punt. But we ain't needed when we cry for Egypt's flesh, nah. So it's Egypt that we got, and we hella mad. These crackers soaring off our shoulders like some hella pads. They see our sweat, but they don't feel us like we holograms. I'll be damned, another black man shot again.